Hey Zal, welcome to the Nikita guide. Without further ado, let's see what the party strategy is. You notice Verdandi is obviously going to be a big part of our run. We're going to be running Esna and Karen to try to take care of all the bonuses. Sorry it took me so long to get this guide up. It wasn't easy to try to get the Marduk leveled to do a solo run. Um, this is totally doable without a tank. It's actually, I think, a little bit easier to do it with double Verdandis or double Esnas, depending on what's in your friends list. But here you're looking at some of the stats. Verdandi and Esna both can use some work. To do this solo means to use Marduk, and he does make your runs more reliable, but he also kind of limits your DPS. And I believe that this is essentially a DPS race dungeon. So let's get into this first fight. First thing you're going to notice is these guys are untauntable. They're immune to abnormal status. And I think we're going to take a look at the buffs here in a second. Um, but a little bit, like I guess a little bit more on the comp. Marduk's probably the only tank you can run in here. I've tried Amon, but he doesn't evade enough. And as you can see from the buffs on these boars, they immune to abnormal statuses. They don't take damage from anything but water, really. And the kind of killer here is this next skill where they'll multi-strike and one-shot every tank that, is not water for the most part. I mean, Amon's been a little bit successful because he evades, so he can live. The problem is you're going to be popping revives and stuff on this part of the fight, and this part of the fight should honestly be the easiest part. You shouldn't use a single cooldown on these guys. And it doesn't matter if they're not taunted because if you are water with two healers in the team, there's enough like kind of on hit heals to keep your party more than topped off. You get a little bit of low, maybe you pop Karen's ult to kind of top everybody off. But kind of there's only one thing going on here is you want to set yourself up for the next round at the end of this round. So you want Verdandi to kind of finish these guys off with his crit strike damage buff, but at the same time, you don't want him killing them because then he's going to go last, and that means the next boss will get at least 2 turns. And as you'll see, the next boss is kind of you're kind of counting your turns before he enrages because, like I said earlier, this dungeon is pretty much just a DPS check. Aside from this first wave, they both have hard enrage timers, and uh, you just they'll after a certain amount of turns they'll just start killing your team. The second boss, I think, more so than the third boss. Nikita's a little bit different. You can go a little bit past the enrage timer with her. But all right, so you see there we got him low with Verdandi, and then we finished him off with I think we got a counterattack from Demos, but Demos might be going first here. Now so we got Karen going first. We'll look at his buffs. He enrages after 9 turns, and when you die, when you pop a revive, this dude heals for like 200,000. So you do not want to pop any sort of revives. And other than that, there's only one more mechanic in this dungeon, and we'll take a look at it. So here you see we're using our number threes here, but we're trying to use them really early on, so that hopefully by the time uh, we get to the third boss, Esna's ult has come off cooldown. Verdandi's ult is not going to be a problem. It's a 5-turn cooldown, and we're going to be using Karen to haste him, so he'll get his ult back no problem. But it's important here to kind of hit this guy really hard at the beginning. And now you'll see the third mechanic is this debuff that he puts on Demos and other people. It basically it completely increases the damage, like 300% times the damage you'll take when he hits you. And this is how he's going to pop your revives. If you defend and take that buff off of you, he will not kill any of your guys. The problem is when he puts it on your DPS, you you're kind of torn between the do I defend and lose damage and get to his enrage, or do you risk the counterattack and him popping your revive. Because if you pop your revive, it quickly becomes an untenable situation because he'll start healing and you won't go anywhere. I mean, I can upload a video where he was at like 2% and then he just started healing because Verdandi revived and then say killed somebody else and then Karen popped her auto revive and then Demos and he was just back up to full. So what you want to do here is, like I said, get him down early so that when he does put the debuffs on you throughout the course of the fight, you can afford to take a defense round and lose the DPS. And honestly, give yourself time for your skills to come off cooldown. So now we're at Nikita, and she gives herself an attack speed increase, and she summons boars. The boars taunt, which is probably the most annoying aspect. Mary Mike shut down, but yeah, we'll look at her buffs here. She increases her attack speed. The more turns you can get during her attack speed buff, the less turns she'll take because it does count. She's got an enrage after 15 rounds, and she multi-strikes and she multi-strikes hard. And she also applies that kind of defense thing that, I mean, it's almost like a mental seal. You almost have to defend because she will counterattack or she'll conal and start killing your people. She doesn't heal when you revive here. So if you have all of your defensive cooldowns when you get to her, you're in really good shape here. So the boar mechanic, every once in a while she'll summon the boars. I've noticed that if you start AoEing and you start killing the boars, they enrage. And then even after they enrage, if you kill them, it seems like they come back. So what I'm doing in this run is I'm trying not to kill the boar, trying to focus all of my single target damage um, on Nikita. The the pain of it is sometimes these boars will taunt your DPS, and that's bad news. So here you see Karen's getting a little low. She's got that debuff on her, so I just said I'm going to defend. I don't want her to go down. And basically all we're doing is just trying to get Verdandi and Esna to attack as much as possible. Marduk, as long as he doesn't have that, can tank for a long time, as long as he doesn't have the debuff. So I defended there, and we're honestly, we're looking to get taunts on Nikita. I think she has inherent resistance, so I think it would behoove everybody to run a little bit of accuracy on your tank. I'm not sure if accuracy plays into to resist, but she also does have evades, which can be extremely annoying. If she evades one of your alts from your DPS, I think you can probably kiss the round goodbye. But it's still not as RNG heavy as the Kali dungeon. So here we're looking to see if we have his crit damage up. He's got strike preparation, which guarantees his next uh, attack is going to be a critical strike. So you never want to ult with Verdandi unless you have strike preparation up. But you also want to make sure you get his crit damage buff up because as you skill up that second skill, it's going to give you a lot more damage. And right now he's ruined for crit damage as well, so it's kind of going to compound on itself. So you see there, we didn't haste Verdandi because he was just about to use his ult, and we didn't want to lose out on that kind of one-turn cooldown reduction. So, I mean, it's essentially what we're doing here is just we're it's just a DPS race, and see, we weren't doing very good there until we got that nice fat crit. She's got 3 rounds left on her enrage. And she'll summon another boar, but as long as those boars aren't enraged, I think it's more doable. Um, Obviously, if there are 2 boars there, there's more of a chance that you'll get taunted. But Marduk does have an AoE taunt, so that kind of helps control them. Let's see. Kind of another. Okay, so I guess this is the enrage mechanic. When she enrages, she does a fat AoE every 2 turns. So that's what we're saving Demos for. We know she's going to enrage. There we go. We evade. I guess Karen had gone. And now you got, depending on how many defensive cooldowns you have, you got about 3 to 4 turns to kill her because she's going to keep doing that AoE and it's going to keep hitting hard. But again, if you have Verdandi's revive, he'll be fine. He can go through 1. Then you've got Demos's revive. You know, he can revive someone. So the key is use your ults early in the second boss and make sure they're up and make sure you're not popping your revives and your defensive cooldowns. Because see, We just got smoked there by our ult, and then boom, Demos is up, Esna is up, and Verdundi's still good. So that is the Nikita dungeon. Hope the guide helps you. Hope the mechanics are kind of explain what's going on a bit. Defend when you can, and kind of work your turn orders. And thank you very much for watching, guys, and enjoy farming. Thank you.